Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Silhouette Saturday. This is your September edition. I am going to be sharing with you a project I created using my silhouette. If you follow this collab, it's being hosted by Sharon Moore, who is Ebony, and Paulette, who is Scrappy Tate. A group of us have joined forces to share with you our projects that we have created using our cutting machines in hopes that we can inspire you to bring yours out and use it if you have it. And if you don't have any and you are interested in making an informed decision on how to use the one you may purchase, we hope that we can have some influence over your purchasing decision and giving you some tips and tricks that you can use along the way, as well as hopefully walking you through the software so that you can get an idea of how it's utilized. That being said, I have had a busy week. My brain is foggy. I'm tired. I'm going to try to hurry up and get this pumped out. If you have any questions, please leave them in the description box below. I thank you for spending your time with me. In front of you is what I used to create my project. I used this Spellbound paper pad by Fancy Pants. Got this at Tuesday Morning. I use this sequence mix that I created. I use some cardstock from Basil. No, I think this is Coordinations. It's in the open cardstock at Joann's. This mirror card I got at a from Crafter's Companion, and I used these Jolie Boutique spiders I picked up some time ago at Joann's as well. I'm sorry, at Tuesday Morning. Okay, so I am going to kind of do this a little bit in reverse. For my main project, I'm going to share with you all how it cut, and then we'll go over to the silhouette and I will share with you all the design, and then I'm going to come back and share with you all the finished project. So this is how it cut. These are my layering pieces and my panels. So I am making a witch's boot card. Here are the panels that cut out. So I have my main card base. I have a layering panel where I can stamp or write a sentiment or create one in the program. Excuse me. And then there's that. And then this is also the top part. These are some of the layering elements that I am going to use to create my boot. And this is a tag. This tag, and there's the acetate. I cut the panel out 7 times in heavyweight cardstock. This is the base. And then from the discard of this, I created these to include with my project. Okay guys, let's go over to Silhouette Studio and let's create this. Hi guys, we are in the design edition of Silhouette Studio, and what we're going to do is go into our library. I'm going to create a witch shaped, it's actually called a witch fancy shoe shaped large card. So what I have done is populated that onto my mat. Everything is grouped together. I am going to ungroup it, and I can tell that this is my card base because the one panel to my left has a stitch line, so that's letting me know that that's where my card is going to fold at. It's going to be a top folding card. So what I am going to do is, I don't want a card 7 inches tall. I want one that's going to be 5.5 inches tall. So I'm going to populate this card base and change the size to 5.5. Now you see that I lost the proportion, so I went back in with the lock to lock the proportion so that I can keep it uniform. So what I am doing now is I have grouped everything together, and I am going to manipulate this until it layers pretty close to what I've already created, which is the 5.5 inch panel. So you'll see me trying to line this up as perfect as I can, and I think I'm pretty happy with the size there. So I am going to go ahead and move that off my panel and see just how close I am by ungrouping this. This lets me know I'm at 5.478, which is pretty close. So what I'm going to do is to flip the left boot horizontally. And at this point, you should duplicate the one that's on the right, the solid based one. And I didn't do that here, but I did when I cut it out. So I am going to change both of these to black so that I can get an idea of what I'm working with when I go to cut my pattern paper out. Using the one that I duplicated, I am going to do a internal offset to this panel, and I'm just using the 1.25 offset that is pre-populated into the system, and that is going to allow me to have a layering piece where I can either stamp, design, or write a sentiment. So I am changing that to white. It fits perfectly onto my panel, and I am going to use my text feature on the left hand side of the panel and populate a text box, and I'm going to type in the word "have a fabulous." Well, I noticed that I should have done that first before I went to my textile panel, so you'll see me doubling back and doing just that. So this is where I realized that I needed to type out my information first. So you'll see me going back, and I'm going to type again, "have a fabulous Halloween." And I'm going to go in and add some special characters between the fab and the bulous so that it just keeps that separate. Now I'm going to group everything together, and I'm going to center justify this, and I am going to change the inside of the font to black. And I'm also going to go over to my send panel to tell my silhouette that I don't want this to cut, I want it to print. So I'm going to hit the design, and I went ahead and put no cut, and that is going to indicate that I don't want this cut. So on this panel, I'm going to adjust it. I'm going to adjust the sizing. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to the textile, and I'm going to change the font. So I have a Halloween haunted font that I got out of thefont.com, and I am just adjusting that font so that it fits perfectly onto my boot. Some other places you can get fonts from, cheap or pretty much free, is Silhouette, Design Bundles, thefont.com, and 1001freefonts.com. You want to be mindful of when purchasing these fonts that these are people who create these. So if you have a problem with your computer, you just want to be mindful just of your safety when downloading these files. So maybe a good thing to do is to stick to like Silhouette and things like that, where you may have to pay, but it takes the you have a safety net. So anyway, I'm back at this panel. I see that it fits perfectly onto my boot, and then I am going to bring over the other panel, which is going to be our main layering piece. I'm going to change that to purple, and then I have some additional details that I can add to the boot. But before I work with those, I see that I have an element that will allow me to create a tag. And this is great because what I'm going to do is to cut this element out and make that tag into a shaker. So I think the best way to do this, since it's very skinny, is to go ahead and duplicate the panels so that I can layer them on top of one another. I'm going to duplicate these panels in a group of 8, and 7 I'm going to cut out in a heavyweight cardstock so that I can layer and create my base. And one of them I am going to create in a solid pattern or in a I'm sorry, in a solid or in a pattern, so that it can nestle on top of my shaker unit. So I'm going to coordinate the backing piece as well, and I've just changed these to purple so that it indicates that these need to be cut in a different color. Now I am going to group these together so that I can cut them together. So going over again to my panel, I have some of the layering pieces. I'm just showing how they layer. So this topmost piece with the eyelets, I am going to duplicate that to provide a little bit of sturdiness for my card. I want this card to be something that the person that I'm sending this to can display. So I wanted to have a sturdy base to it. So here I am changing these panels to orange, and I'm going to bring them to the front so that we can see how they'll layer. Again, you don't have to cut these in the cardstock indicated. They can also be cut in different colors or patterns. I'm just doing this to show that I want to have these uniform when I cut these on my panel. Now if you have a Cricut, the Cricut will separate these for you based on color. But again, we're not using the Cricut today. We are working with the silhouette. So this element that I have here with the scallop detail as well as the eyelets, I am going to turn to gray, and the scallop panel at the top, the lace panel, I'm going to change that to gray as well so that I can have that matching each other when I cut. So this bottom unit here, which is the main layering base of the boot, it's pretty optional. You don't have to use it, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it just so that I do have those options. And I'm just going to indicate that I would like to cut this in black. And then we have 2 stars over to our right that we can go ahead and layer. The 2 stars on our right is going to go at the base of the boot. There is a hole there in which you can go ahead and add some extra detail. So I'm just arranging these on my panel so that I can know how to cut these when it's time for me to go ahead and give that a go. Alright, I will meet you guys back at the desk. Alright guys, and for the final card, here is how it turned out. This card, if I didn't mention it, is for a to complement a package that I'm going to send out. I am in the PHA's Cutesy Halloween swap. My partner is Dawn. And I am going to be sending this to her. Her favorite color is purple, so I created this card with that in mind. So there is how the finished card turned out. Here are the spiders, the layering elements. Here is my shaker, and here you can see how I have stacked it together. And on the inside of the card, it just says, Dawn, have a fabulous Halloween, and I'm going to sign it. Okay, guys, I hope that everybody has an amazing day. Be sure to go ahead and check out the participants in this collab. And as always, we thank you for spending some of your time with us. Have a fabulous day. Bye for now.